Hello and welcome back. Till now in this video series we have seen some history of C, some basic programming fundamentals, and we have seen how to install code blocks and Visual Studio. So today in this lecture I want to basically highlight some of the concepts for a C program. As we all know, language is a way of communication. In our day-to-day life, we often use languages to communicate with people. So without knowing the language, we cannot convey our message to others. So in that way, without learning computer language, you cannot convey your message to computer. As most of us use English to communicate with people. So my question is, did you learn to speak English in one day? And obviously your answer is no. While learning English, we first learn the alphabets. Then we learn to combine them to form words and numbers, which in turn are combined to form sentences, and then sentences are combined to form paragraphs. As there are close analog between learning English and learning C language. So while learning C, we first learn to alphabets, digits and special symbols. Then we learn how to combine them to form constant, variable and keywords. And finally, how to combine them to form instruction. And after combining instruction, we form a program. So today in this video, we are going to discuss about what are constants, variables and keywords. So let's move on. Constants. As you studied in maths, constants are those which never change their value. Similarly, in C language, a constant is an entity that doesn't change. Now let's see what are different types of constant exist in C. Constants in C are majorly divided into two categories, primary constant and secondary constant. As you see in this figure that these constants are further divided into different categories. Primary constants are divided into integer constant, real constant, character constant. And secondary constants are divided into array, pointer, structure, union, etc. But at this stage, we would focus only on primary constant. Integer constant. Integer constant is an integer value without decimal point. For example, 156 plus 25 minus 30 or 0, all these are integer constant. In C, there are certain rules for creating integer constant. Let us see this rule one by one. First, it must not have a decimal point. As I told you in definition of integer constant, that integer are the values without decimal point. This simply means that 15.6 is not considered as integer constant or 85.5 is not considered as integer constant. Next, integer constant can be 0, positive or negative. This means plus 25, minus 25, all are considered as integer constant. Also, 0 is considered to be an integer constant. Next rule says that if no sign precedes an integer constant, it is assumed to be positive. For example, 73 is considered to be a positive constant as we did not mention sign. So it is by default considered as positive. No commas or blanks are allowed within an integer constant. For this, let's take example of 10,000 in our daily life. We write 10,000 as 10,000, but in C, it is not considered as integer constant. You have to write it as 1 followed by 40 for making it as integer constant. Now let's talk about real constant. Real constant are the integer value with decimal point. Real constant are often called as floating point constant. For example, 325.25 plus 426.00 minus 30.2 and 0.00 are all considered as real constant. Like integer constant, there are certain rules for creating real constant. Let us see those rules one by one. First, unlike integer constant, real constant have a decimal point. Rules for creating real constant are mostly similar to the rules those for integer constant. Next, it could be either positive or negative. This simply means plus 25.25 or minus 25.25 are both real constant. Let's see what the next rule says. If no sign precedes a real constant, it is assumed to be positive. It means if you write a real constant and you cannot mention its sign, it's considered to be positive. Again, next rule is similar to as that of we studied in integer constant. That means no comma or blanks are allowed within a real constant. Let's move to character constant. A character constant means a single character enclosed between single inverted commas. Character can be an alphabet, digit, or special symbol. For example, 2 between inverted commas, A between inverted commas, plus between inverted comma. Also, space is a special symbol, so two inverted comma with space between them is also considered as character constant. Now you may ask, is minus 9 a character constant? And the answer is no, because character constant only have one digit, alphabet or symbol. But in case of minus 9, there are two characters, minus or 9. So it is not considered as character constant. Now move to our another important topic, variables. In C program, we typically do lots of calculation. The result of this calculation are stored in computer memory. Like us, computer memory also consists of millions of cells, and the calculated values are stored in this memory cell. To make retrieval and usage of these values easy, these memory cells are given names, and the name given to this location are called variable name. A particular type of variable can hold only the same type of constant. For example, an integer variable can hold only an integer constant. A real variable can hold only a real constant, and a character variable can hold only a character constant. This means you cannot put a real constant in an integer variable or a integer constant in a real variable. There are certain rules for creating variable name. First rule says that the first character in the variable name must be an alphabet or underscore. That means a variable name can only start with alphabet or underscore. So if you write 99 hello world, then it is considered to be a wrong variable name in C language. No comma or blanks are allowed within a variable name. It means you cannot use comma or blank while creating a variable name. No use of special symbol other than underscore. This is an important rule as you cannot use other symbol like @ hash, asterisk. You can only use underscore for creating a variable name. There are certain examples that I mentioned. My underscore name, underscore hello underscore world, pop underscore e underscore 89. These are all variable name. So this is all about variables. Now let's move to our another topic, keywords. Keywords. Keywords are the predefined reserved words used in programming that have special meaning to the compiler. That means compiler already know the meaning of this word. There are only 32 keywords available in C. As C is a case-sensitive language, all keywords must be written in lowercase. Here is a list of all keywords in C. All these keywords, their syntax and application will be discussed in their respective topics. Here one thing is to be noted that the keyword should not be used as variable name. However, some C compiler allow you to construct variable name same as that of keyword. But it's a good practice not to use keyword as variable name. So that's all for today's lecture. If you have any query, comment down below and I will try to solve them. Thank you.